That's so mean. Like, if you're my friend, why would you show him that? One of these people is lying to my face, and then she slapped me in the face. I'm like, oh my God, I literally cannot trust anybody. She kissed him. Hello. Today I'm gonna be telling you guys about how high school girls traumatized me. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Danny. Basically, in today's video, I want to explain how I went from someone who was very excited about making friends, very open, very trusting, very naive, to a tainted, I almost said jealous, I don't know if that's the right word. Jaded, that's what I'm looking for. Sad, old hag who is terrified of making female friends and constantly struggles with it because of a few experiences that I had in high school. Oh my God. So I was homeschooled, I had 10 siblings, and I was also in a band on YouTube with millions of viewers. And that's not me flexing, that's just me explaining why I am the way I am and why I was the way I was. So you could definitely say that I grew up not sheltered, like my parents didn't keep me from the world, but I definitely was not exposed to the world because I didn't go to school and because I was in the music industry. So like I lived in a different world than everybody else my age did. I didn't do many sports, didn't have a lot of friends, didn't have the chances to make a lot of friends because I was in the band from a very young age and I was doing adult stuff. Okay, not weird stuff, but I was doing, you know, music industry stuff instead of being a kid. That's a whole other video. We need to talk about that at some point. But I desperately wanted to be normal. And like going into like, you know, middle school age, you start to see these girls just flock together on Snapchat, Instagram, whatever. And you're like, ugh, everybody has a friend group. I want that. So I started to seek that out, you know? And this is like middle school age. This is pre-trauma. I'm just kind of trying to set the scene. I'm like 13, 14. I have a lot of memories of the one normal activity I did being water polo and like meeting these girls, and they would talk about stuff and I had no idea what they were talking about and I didn't know what anything they were talking about meant, and I would walk into practice like with headphones on and like blaring music that made me feel like the main character or whatever, and I thought I was really cool because I had headphones on and I lived in a different universe. In my head, I was like a superstar. I don't know, it was a very weird combination of two worlds. I'm like, oh, I'm so cool, I'm in a band, I have a crush on the coach of water polo, and then also, oh, I want to be your friend, please hang out with me, please talk to me. So the water polo thing didn't work out. I had to quit water polo. And even though I seemed to have made a lot of friends on water polo, I didn't keep them. And this is the beginning of a running theme, so just keep that in mind. Nobody from my team asked me to hang out. They all had my number. They all had my Instagram, I think. I hung out with two of them like once or twice, but they would always hang out without me. I would always text them like, what are you guys doing? They wouldn't respond. And I was left alone. So then I moved to a new state. Okay, I moved from California to Tennessee when I was 15. When I moved to this new state, I was like, oh, thank God, a fresh start. I started going to a new church. I started going to a youth group. And at this time, like, I started to make friends. And they asked me to hang out. And like, we had this whole squad. It was like 10 people. I was like, oh yes, I finally have a friend group, because I always just wanted this group of friends. And then one day, we were in youth group, okay? And this girl who I was very close friends with, who was in this friend group with me, she's sitting next to me and I'm talking to her and I'm kind of close to her face, right? But we were close friends, it wasn't like weird. And then she was like, oh my God, stop getting so close to me. You're breathing on my food. And I was like, no, I'm not breathing on your food. And I shouldn't have done this. This wasn't a nice thing to do. But I went, and I breathed on her food on purpose. I shouldn't have done that. I admit that that was not a nice thing to do, but I did it anyway because I was kind of a jerk. Again, not much social interaction. Didn't really understand you're not supposed to do that. And then she slapped me in the face in front of everybody. I was like, okay, that's a bit much. I don't know if that warrants the reaction that you just gave me. I get it, it's a little gross. It is a little gross. I would be offended, but I don't know if I would slap someone over that. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, then I started to kind of realize, okay, this is a little weird. This friendship is kind of crumbling. The friend group didn't last too long. This is kind of a common thread, as we will see. They started hanging out without me. I was not involved in that group anymore, and I stopped talking to them. Here I am again, 16 or so, friendless, yet again, looking for a friend group, looking for some girls to hang out with, to no avail. Then I go on a mission trip and I meet this girl and she's so cool. And we instantly become best friends. And that is a red flag. I just want to tell you guys that. So almost right away, we started acting like each other. Everybody said that we would like turn into each other when we were hanging out, and like we had the same vocabulary, we talked the same, we made the same jokes. It was like a whole thing. And I didn't think it was weird at all. I was just excited to have a friend because, as you guys can see, at this point, I had tried and failed to make friends so many times. I was like, okay, this one's gonna work. So this girl was actually very popular in high school, and this is where the trauma begins. So buckle up. And so I met all of her friends, and this was like my wildest dreams coming true, because at this point, I was even more fed up with having no friends, with not being normal. I was like, oh, I just want to be normal. I just want to have friends. I want to meet all these people. And so I got to meet tons of people, like 40, 50, I don't know. It was a lot of people. I remember I counted it one day, like how many people I'd met through her. It was a lot. And all of them were like cool, nice. The first time I met them, like at football games and stuff, they all seemed to like me. I started like dating one of the guys who was in the group of people. We were a thing, I guess you could say. And I was really excited because this is kind of what I had been searching for my whole life. It was like the most normal friend group you could possibly get. Like they weren't homeschoolers. They weren't from my Catholic church. Like it was normal kids who threw parties, who loved to drink and whatever. They were all cool. They all played sports or were cheerleaders or whatever. And it was my dream. It was my high school Disney movie dream or whatever. And so I'm dating this guy. He's kind of weird. Like not weird like nerdy, like weird, like confusing and kind of mean sometimes, and very on and off with our relationship. And I tell you this because it plays into this whole story. I'm making all these friends that are friends with him and friends with my best friend. Okay, so keep in mind, I met everybody through the best friend, and I was friends with them, and I was dating this guy, and he was in the group. So it was this big group of people, everybody's friends, some people were dating, and I was sort of dating this one guy. Okay, so the first weird thing that happened with this friend group is prom night. This was my first time ever going to prom, and for a while I thought I was gonna go with this guy, and like he had mentioned going with me. He was like talking about what we were gonna wear. He just never formally asked me, and he never ended up asking me because he didn't want to go with me, because like I said, he was weird. And I just went with my best friend, the one who's friends with everybody, and this one girl who was in this friend group of people, she was like the party girl, I guess you could say. Like she had a really chill mom or something, and so I knew that she was gonna be doing something after, and my friend knew that she was gonna be doing something after. She didn't formally invite us, but we were just assuming she was going to, because we're gonna see her that night, and she was our friend, allegedly. So after prom, we're like texting her, like leaving, we're like, hey, what are you doing? You know, because we assumed she was just gonna say, oh, I'm having a party at my house, come over. But she never responded to us. And so we end up hanging out at my friend's house, and like we had fun or whatever, but I remember looking at my other friend's story, the one who was throwing the party, and somebody posted her and she had her phone next to her. So she was ignoring us. It wasn't like she didn't have her phone. She genuinely was not texting us back because she didn't want us to come for some reason. And so that was the first thing that was a little bit weird, but I kind of just ignored it. I continued to hang out with her and all of her friends. I really wanted to be friends with them. I wanted to be cool. I thought this group of people was so sick because, like I said, they were like the cool kids at the high school or whatever. Then bunch of weird stuff starts happening revolving around this guy. The first thing is after prom a little bit, he kind of stops talking to me a little. He's distancing himself from me. He's being confusing, but I'm still under the impression that like he likes me. He's just being weird. He's confused, you know. Teenage girl stuff, convincing yourself someone likes you when they don't. So my best friend is in a group chat with all these kids because they all go to the same school. It was a school group chat. So in this group chat, they're all like roasting him, like saying funny stuff about him. And this one girl who's in the chat, it's not my best friend, it's someone else. She's allegedly friends with me. She's someone I had hung out with by myself, like one-on-one. It was outside of the friend group. Like she seemed to like me. I liked her. I thought she was cool. And she says in the group chat, like while they're all roasting him, she's like, oh my God, he can't even tell a girl he doesn't like her anymore. He just complains about her every time she texts him. Like that's the funny joke. So hilarious. Which meant that everybody in the group had to know about that, right? Because you won't just make a joke that nobody's gonna understand. He didn't tell me that because he was too scared to tell me apparently. And none of my friends told me that. And I know damn well that my friends who were all in this group together, I know they all knew he was doing that because they were his friend too. So that was sad. That was the second time I was like, damn, okay, can't really trust these people maybe, but they're my only friends and I'm desperate. So I'm gonna keep talking to them. So moving forward a little bit more, the guy stops talking to me entirely. Should have seen that coming. He was very confusing to begin with, but I was heartbroken. I was really sad. And I was like, ugh, why doesn't he talk to me anymore? And so I find out through my best friend that somebody showed him videos of me on my Finsta that I had at the time that he was not on. It was like a private Instagram that he was not accepted on. Somebody showed him videos of me talking about him, like ranting about him because he was confusing. So I was talking to all my friends about him and how confusing he was, how weird he was. Someone showed him those videos from my Instagram. And I didn't have that many people on there. Like, it's a Finsta, you don't have like hundreds of people on there. I had like my closest friends. So that meant one of my closest friends showed him the videos. And I was just like, I was so sad. I was like, I can't believe that's the reason he stopped talking to me. He must think I'm so weird. That's so embarrassing. I never wanted him to see that. Like, what a weird person would show him that. Like, that's such a weird thing to do. So I call this girl. Guys, there's a lot of girls in this group, okay? So just, you don't even need to keep track of them. This is just a new girl. Girl after girl, friend after friend. This is different people. I call this girl who's in the friend group. She's one of my closest friends. She's on my Finsta, and I trust her. And she's the last person I would think would do this. So I called her for support. And I was like, I can't believe he found out about this. Like, who would show him? That's so hurtful. I can't believe it. I text all my friends on this Finsta and I'm like, did you show him? Was it you? Was it you? Was it you? Nobody fesses up to it. Everybody's like, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. And so I'm like, oh my God, I literally cannot trust anybody. Like, one of these people is lying to my face and I don't know who it is. And so I find out shortly after, I don't know how I found this out, but that the sweet girl who was comforting me while I cry, who was talking to me about this boy who was saying, oh my God, who would do that? Like, she was the one person I called besides my best friend at the time. She was the one who did it. She was the one who showed him because she was close with him and she was probably like, you know, trying to be closer with him. I don't know. Weird stuff that girls do with guys. Like, I think she just like liked being his friend and she wanted to show him like as a friend. Like, oh, you should know that this girl's talking about you on her Instagram, but like, that's so mean. Like, if you're my friend, why would you show him that? You would think you'd be more loyal to me because I'm a girl. I don't know. So I find out I can't trust her. Another one crossed off the list. So then, shortly after, this guy and I haven't been talking for a little bit. Not long. I think it was like a couple weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. Not that long. And I found out that the girl who initially did invite me to her prom party, that one, same girl, she kissed him. She was another one of the girls who like I spoke to individually, I was close with, I liked her, she liked me, like I trusted her, you know? Turns out she had him over to her house at some time and she kissed him. And so after many, many months of not being invited places, of finding out that my name in this guy's phone, I can't even say it out loud, it was this. That was my name in his phone after he stopped talking to me. Don't know what I did to deserve that, but I guess I did something. I don't know what, I must have done something. There's no way he just pulled that out of his ass. I don't know. But none of my friends wanted to tell me that. I'm sure they knew about it because they were all close with him. I don't know how they wouldn't have known about that. But after finding out terrible thing after terrible thing and constantly getting rejected by these people who I thought were my friends, eventually I stopped talking to them. I stopped talking to my best friend. Actually, she stopped talking to me. We were so close for multiple years and she stops talking to me all of a sudden. By this time, I'm about 17, 18, so they're all graduating, they're going off to college. One of them is TikTok famous now. That's a quick side note. But I start to move on and I make new friends. I'm not even gonna go into the story of my new friend group when I was 18 because that didn't last either. Shocking. Very shocking, I know. Every friend group I've ever had, every girl I've ever been friends with has ended up rejecting me, stabbing me in the back, talking about me behind my back, kissing my boyfriend, doing something weird, just over and over and over and over again. After you experience all these things with friends and you try so hard and you get so excited and you get let down over and over and over again, you're like, this must be my fault, right? And I still don't know. To this day, I don't fully remember whether I was a good friend or a bad friend. I don't know how I came off to other people. I must have come off a little bit weird because I was homeschooled and they were all in public school together. So like I was the odd one out. Maybe I was a bad friend. Maybe I was an asshole. I really couldn't tell you. Any of those options would make sense to me because I feel like at a certain point, you have to start doing something about yourself because there's a chance that I'm perfect and they are all weird and I just picked bad friends, but I feel like I had to have done something wrong in those years to make people not want to be friends with me, and I wasn't perfect like I thought I was, you know? Like I feel like if you are in a room full of 1,000 people and you're looking around the room of 1,000 people and you're like, they are all crazy, you might be the crazy one. That's just a thought that I started to have. And so, started dating my now husband, got very emotionally attached to him because he was the first like safe place I had ever known. So I was like, okay, I don't need anybody else. I got very comfortable being alone. I didn't try to make any female friends because I just automatically assumed that if I met a new girl, she was either a horrible person who was gonna leave me in the end or she didn't like me. Like that was just my assumption about everybody, that they either hated me or were not a good friend. And so I just didn't make any friends for multiple years. And you can understand how I would get to that point. I was traumatized, I was scared, and I didn't want to get hurt again. A part of me is forever damaged by that, and there is a very, I guess, jaded and dark part of my brain that just says, everyone's gonna leave me at some point. Like even Emin, I kind of think that. This just got very deep, but I don't know if it comes from childhood or these friends or everything combined, but I just have a belief that everyone's gonna leave at some point. So like you can't ever get too comfortable in friendships or relationships because like they're all gonna end. And I'm working on fixing that because I know that it's not true. Like I know logically that Emin's not gonna leave me, but a part of me tells me that he is all the time. And same thing with all the friends that I have currently. So I'm working on it, but I'm scarred for life. I am. Bye guys.